That is the sound of reliability. That is the sound of dependability. And that is the sound of ruggedness, because this is the Mahindra Bolero, an absolute icon, and this has been updated for the 2025 model year along with its sibling the Bolero Neo, and we are going to talk about both of these SUVs in this video. Now Mahindra has of course chosen to not change much with the Bolero, because this is a timeless iconic design of this ladder frame SUV, but it does get minor changes on the front of the car, which includes this new chunkier grille. Of course you've got the new Mahindra logo right there. You also got that in the Bolero sold right before this, but this looks more prominent. This also gets chrome lighting right there on the grille. Now the bumper below is different, it's sportier, it's also chunkier, and it also gets fog lamps right there, which the Bolero before didn't. Now this is the Bolero. Of course it has the most boxy design of anything that you can buy in the market right now. Now it continues with that theme with this one as well. It's largely the same, but you do get two key differences. One of them is that this is a new black paint for the SUV. It is very different to a lot of other colors, mostly white, that people buy on the Bolero. You also get new 15-inch alloy wheels, which have a sporty design. Now I must say they look great, but they do not really fill up the arches as they should in an SUV like this. Now because the Bolero is meant to be an SUV that goes where no other car goes, and it's supposed to be beaten, loaded with luggage, loaded with people, and travel all across the country without breaking down or complaining, the SUV has always been a bit Spartan, but Mahindra has decided to change that a little bit with this new one. Now first and foremost, it gets a new infotainment display. This of course is touchscreen and it is slightly Android based, so I guess you can add apps into it. It also gets a Type-C charging port, so modern smartphone users can charge their phones quite easily. Now in addition to this, the seats have been upgraded to leatherette upholstery. Now this is good upholstery, it's really firm, it feels comfortable, and for most people who do use the Bolero to travel a lot of distance per day, this is going to come as a real upgrade. Now in addition to that, you also get steering mounted controls for the music system right there. Now as before, the aircon, the cup holders, the power windows, switches, and everything else has largely been the same, but you do get new bottle holders in the door panels. Now the thing is that these bottle holders are for large bottles and they do encroach into your leg space a little bit, but it's not really a big complaint. Now as before, the Bolero gets jump seats in the third row, or rather the boot of the SUV. Now these two get the leatherette upholstery like the rest of the car. Now I must say that this is not the most comfortable place to be in, although it does have just enough headroom, but individuals taller than me, that is 5'8", will face some issues. Legroom is also not great, especially if I have another individual sitting right there. But the Bolero is used by law enforcement, and the jump seats are quite a requirement for those bodyguards or whoever else is traveling right in the third row. Now the space in the rear of the Bolero is the same as before. You get an armrest. This again is leatherette upholstery. Now comfort wise, the leatherette upholstery and the seat dynamics do make a slight difference compared to before, but Mahindra says that in this top variant, which is again a new variant for the Bolero lineup, it gets something called Ride Flow, which is a slight increase in the comfort of the SUV. Now the Bolero continues with the same diesel engine as before, making 75 bhp and 210 Newton meters of torque, and the power is sent to the rear wheels because this is a proper ladder frame SUV and it is meant to go a lot of places into rugged terrain. And who can forget that sound of the diesel engine? It is pretty iconic. Now that is it for the new Bolero, and now we take you to the Bolero Neo. Now this is the updated Bolero Neo, the more urban-centric version of the Bolero, a different kind of sibling if you may call it. Now this again has been updated for the model year. It is not a facelift like the Bolero, and it gets including changes, which is this new grille which gets horizontal slats. Of course it gets the new Mahindra logo right there. It also gets chrome inserts. The headlamps and everything else are same as before. These are still halogens. Now over to the sides, you get new 16-inch alloy wheels that look slightly sportier and slightly better than before. Now of course they have also added new colors. This one in particular is called the Jeans Blue. Now you also get dual tone options. This of course again is the dual tone option. You get a blacked out roof, and except that, everything else in the exterior of the Bolero Neo is the same as before. Now this being the more urban friendly version of the Bolero does get more creature comforts in the interior of the SUV. You get this full leatherette upholstery. This of course is a color called grey. Now this is available in the top N11 variant, which again is the new variant on top of the N10 that was earlier available. Everything below gets a mocha leatherette upholstery. Now in addition, you get this 10-inch infotainment display as well as a new 15-watt Type-C charging ports for the new generation of smartphone users. Now comfort in the Bolero Neo has been improved by these seats that also offer new geometry. You of course get your own armrest, so for the co-driver. Now these are of course more comfier than before, more supportive than before. And what these also mean is that longer drives in the Bolero Neo will be pretty comfortable. Now in addition to this, Mahindra has also added something called Ride Flow. This is basically the frequency dependent damping that has been reworked to offer more comfort for long distance journeys and of course on bad roads where this SUV goes pretty easily, because it also gets a mechanical locking diff right there at the rear axle. Now speaking of the rear, let's check out the third row of the SUV. Now this is the third row of the Bolero Neo, and like the Bolero, it again gets jump seats. Now these again feature the dual tone leatherette upholstery like the rest of the car. Now this again isn't very spacious. This does offer you more legroom because this car is slightly wider compared to the Bolero, but this being not very comfortable, it is only meant for short journeys, but loading luggage in here will not be a massive problem. Who doesn't love that sound? That is the sound of course of the 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo diesel that makes 100 bhp and 260 Newton meters of torque, with the power being sent to the rear axle like a proper SUV. Now in terms of certain more mechanical changes, Mahindra says that they have improved the steering feedback as well as the brake dynamics of the SUV. Now that is it for our walk around of these two new updated SUVs. What do you think that Mahindra's two workhorses, the Bolero and the Bolero Neo, hold for 2025 when most SUVs are fully urban centric? They are based on monocoque chassis and they don't really go off-road. These are proper ladder frame SUVs, diesel powered, and come with quite a lot of tech. They are proper rugged. And what do you think of the updates for 2025? This is Anak Bhaskar signing off.